It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
Been stealing time away to tend to my business, yeah. Cause in these modern days I'm reaching the ceiling, yeah. I take my pain and I turn it to positivity, Throughout my journey I battle with my identity, Whether I'm sanctified or sanctioned for war. Without the cameras I done gave to the poor. Women I gave them my all. Music I made a rapport, but still I feel a void. It's like a voice in my head to speak and I can't avoid. Heading to Troy misguided. I look around at my people and see a lack of providing. But if I have it, you got it. Sacrificing materials trying to save my spirit. So when I'm gone, evaluate my merits. It's hard to cherish when your world collapses and proceeding with certain fashion. And everything you accomplish is to preserve your passion. Yeah. What does it mean to gain the fruits when the people surrounding you cover your roots? Think about it. I know it's always been a struggle for me. Hard times never settle for me. But the light that I want, feel like it's never coming for me. Hard lies in the gutter for me. Plus the light that I see, ain't nobody dealing with me. Don't nobody share these feelings with me. For the light that I need, some real ones building with me. Know the Lord ain't finished with me. Love is love, yeah.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this evening. Now, this video we finna get into, man, I didn't have this on my bingo card. Now, I know Will Smith has been tiptoeing his way back into music really for about a year now. He dropped like some gospel rap. He did a song with Russ featuring Jaden Smith on a song. You know, he been doing some stuff with Joyner Lucas for years. I'm still waiting to see what that's going to actually amount to, because I think the project he's coming out with actually doesn't include any of that music. I don't know what happened. Maybe he outgrew the music or something. But I didn't have it on my bingo card that while Will Smith was making his reintroduction back into the music space, that he would be reaching out to Kendrick Lamar. Now, Jay-Z, I kind of saw, but Kendrick Lamar for advice, I ain't gonna say that's crazy, but if I was sitting in Kendrick's seat, I would be like, nigga, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Will Smith, the motherfucking Fresh Prince. You know what I'm saying? I'm the MC, he the DJ. Reached out to me on some advice on what to do moving forward in your career? Damn. That's Fido. So for those of y'all that don't know, Will Smith does have a new project. I don't know if it's out already or if it's on the way, but I'm going to get into all the specifics of that in just a moment. First thing we're going to get into is this video of Will Smith talking about reaching out to these two individuals, these two legends, these two GOATs, for guidance, which I think is actually very dope, very humble of him, to be a teacher and learning from the students, because in the chronology of the space, he came first, you know, in terms of Hove and Kendrick. So let's go ahead and pull this clip up. So here we are, Art of Dialogue. They have the clip, man. Let me make sure this shit ain't super loud here. What Will got to say? Don't fake your story.
It's like, you know, before I started, you know, I made 2 phone calls. I talked to Jay and I talked to Kendrick, and I was like, hey, I want to get back in music, and it was like, what's the advice? And Jay said, like, don't fake your story. He was like, you gotta say what's true for you. And he said, you'll be looking at the younger rappers and you want that to be true for you, but you don't live like that. It was like, be true to your story, tell your story. And that's where I got the based on a true story from Jay. And Kendrick, he paused, he said, man, just say that shit you always been fucking scared to say.
Sorry, mommy. You gotta say sorry, Will. You gotta say sorry.
I mean, that's the Kendrick said that, mommy. I didn't say that.
Great fucking advice, by the way.
Kendrick said,
And it was
said
like
the same thing.
Yes, basically the same thing. And it was like, be honest. Be honest. And it was like, that was, you know, it was scary, right? To like just like say, right? And that's the thing with genre. Make the record you want to make. Don't try to make the record that you think people will like you for. Like, make the one that's authentic. It's like, you know, before.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Sirius tries to claim that fucking clip. Y'all niggas gonna have to, man, don't play with me. But I think that was excellent advice from both Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? They basically said the same thing in two different ways. Jay-Z said, don't fake your story, be authentic. Kendrick Lamar says, say the shit that you been scared to say. You know what I'm saying? Get it off your chest. Don't harbor them feelings. Don't try to make them pretty. Don't try to take them and you know, make them less potent. Don't dilute yourself down. Don't downsize yourself for the public. Be real, be honest, be you, be true. Now, what I find interesting is with Will coming to music and doing like some gospel influenced music, I've never known him to be that person, but I don't know him, right? So I found that to be interesting because I was under the impression that was a little bit inauthentic when I saw it. But maybe that's the place that he's actually in. I actually have an article here talking about this upcoming project that he's got. So here, the Associated Press says Will Smith channels his post-slap introspection into music based on a true story. Now, I think it's a little bit fucked up that, you know, well, I guess it is just reality. That this slap is going to follow him and become like a piece of his story and be like the thing that follows him more than his actual career, more than all of his accolades, more than all of his excellent performances, more than all of the crazy success that he's had in all of his endeavors, more than his production company. Just one slap now kind of like low-key defines him. That shit is weird to me, but you know, it is what it is in the world that we live in. So they say Will Smith could have let his infamous Oscar slap be his cinematic fade out with a career bruised, marriage dissected, and reputation in a free fall, but instead of retreating, he turned inward for self-reflection. In the process, Smith rediscovered a long-neglected creative outlet in music, using the mic as a vessel to voice his thoughts after years of prioritizing his Hollywood dominance. He says, I've taken the last couple of years to really do a deep dive on the parts of me that may or may not been in that level of certainty and asking those deep, scary internal questions, said Smith, an Oscar and Grammy winner who will release his 5th studio album based on a true story on Friday. Okay, so it is coming out. It's coming out tonight. It's his first music project in 2 decades since Lost and Found. He says, it really is the result of my initial self-examination. Every song is about some part of myself that I discovered or wanted to explore, something I wanted to share. It's the most full musical offering that I've ever created. Okay? So Smith's new offering features guest appearances from Big Sean. We have that out. I didn't even listen to that. I need to go check that shit out. The Big Sean record, because the Matrix thing threw me off. I ain't gonna lie. Some of the presentation on this shit been kind of shaky, but I'm gonna give it an opportunity. Tiana Taylor's on there, dope. DJ Jazzy Jeff, you might win me over, because DJ Jazzy Jeff be doing this shit. Like, he still got 5 beats. Y'all don't know. And DJ Jazzy Jeff is still tapped in with the youth too. He used to do these retreats. I think he still does them, as a matter of fact, these yearly retreats where he would link up with younger artists, producers, etc., and put out a playlist project that included nothing but new or people that were, you know, after him. So he's been tapped in. His son Jaden Smith is on there, Jack Ross, and Kanye West Sunday Service Choir. Don't confuse that for Kanye West, just the Sunday Service Choir. Okay? His album weaves in gospel melodies and messages, but he doesn't call it a full-blown gospel project, despite the success of You Can Make It, which soared to #1 on the Billboard Gospel Airplay chart. Oh, damn, he taking over on the gospel chart. That's interesting. Now, as you can see, this is the album cover here. He's hearkening back to his Philly roots. You know what I'm saying? Which I find to be dope because you always got to find your way back home. No matter where you go, you always find your way back home. So I hope we got some shit on there that I can relate to, or some bangers or something. Because I like Will. He ain't never been my favorite rapper or nothing like that, but I think I appreciate him more than the average person. Still, Smith let his renewed faith take the lead, steering his creative direction. He plans to release 3 albums this year. Whoa! Shaping each project into what he calls seasons. Okay, so the Joyner Lucas thing may still drop if he got 3 of them bitches in the chamber. The first season, Rave in the Wasteland, plays out across the 14 tracks of Based on a True Story and represents his willingness to learn from life's lessons. Rave in the Wasteland. So he's got different themes and I guess eras. And he's going to go through 3 of them this year. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. I something tells me them other 2 projects will be delayed. Unless he really going to do 3 month. Well, shit. We already going into the 4th month. I don't think that timeline going to play out, but you could prove me wrong. He says, I've come to some really beautiful answers for myself, my perception of God and reality. You know, people used to say y'all was Scientologists and shit, but he done made his way back to the church, look like. Though Smith, 56, is still a bankable global star, rebuilding trust and momentum has been an uphill battle. He's grappled with harsh realities while trying to move past the backlash from slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars in 2022 and his 10-year ban from the ceremony. He be all right. Several entertainers, including Zoe Kravitz, Wanda Sykes, and Rob Reiner, criticized Smith's actions. Jim Carrey was particularly vocal, stating that Smith had been living beyond the bandwidth and cracked under the pressure. And maybe that's true. But at this point in time, I don't give a fuck. When asked about Carrey's bandwidth remarks, Smith agreed, but reiterated that he needed to step back to gain a deeper understanding of himself and move beyond his own limitations. So he didn't rebut it. He just said, okay, yeah, maybe so, true. He says there's a small self that the small concept of myself can get to the end of his bandwidth, he said. And then if I back up, there's like an infinite space where my bandwidth is the bandwidth of life itself. It's like trying to not get stuck in having to be only a narrow band of things to give myself permission to be wider in the truth of who and what I actually am. Smith's road to redemption grew tougher when Rock's comedy special reignited the controversy, and his wife Jada Pinkett Smith's memoir, Worthy, put their marriage under fresh scrutiny, sparking headlines and endless social media memes. And yeah, that was definitely a time. Her doing her press campaign, putting that book out, it definitely didn't help, right? There was a lot of people out there that was heavily criticizing Jada. Some of it justified, some of it not. Smith said the adversity not only tested him, but fueled his creativity. There's a certain psychological and emotional fortitude that you cultivate from leaning into the difficulty, not trying to run away, said Smith, who added he sought to build spiritual confidence inspired by the resilience of his late grandmother and Nelson Mandela. Along the way, he found Tibetan Buddhist Pema Chodron's teachings, embracing her mantra of leaning into the sharp points. These influences became pillars as Smith explored himself more deeply. The way his grandmother, Mandela, and Chodron approached life pushed him to channel his energy, his journey back into music. So yeah, you can't call it a gospel album if you're getting all these damn inspirations. I appreciate you not doing that and playing with it. It is essentially learning how to accept and celebrate my challenges, recognizing that my challenges and my obstacles and my difficulties are actually divine curriculum, said Smith, a 4-time Grammy winner who is known for rap classics such as Summertime, Men in Black, and Jiggy With It, and Parents Just Don't Understand. Those tracks had a laid-back feel, but his new album strikes a more serious tone. He says, it's what I've been given to learn the truth. There's a way that I'm learning to be with hard times. When things arise, it's like, good, yes, thank you. I'm willing to learn these lessons. Okay, believe it or not, Smith is set to embark on his first ever headline tour this summer. Yeah, that was crazy when I seen that. I'm like, first? First headline tour, damn. But when you look back at some of these big megastars from the 90s, like when they said that it was last year was Missy's first headline tour, I said, what the fuck? You know, but they were doing their version of the festival circuit back then. They were doing their spot dates and promo tours and things of that nature. But a lot of those artists weren't necessarily doing solo stadium tours and stuff like that. Just goes to show you how much hip hop has, or even arena tours, shows you how much hip hop has grown and developed. He's structuring the shows around different phases of his life and career, one featuring Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff, very dope. Another highlighting his film and TV journey. And third act he calls The New Phase, New Energy, where Jeff and others will return to the stage as they are working on new music. Smith will kick off his tour, including festivals starting June 25th at the Mawazine Festival in Morocco and expected to wrap up early September in Paris. He'll perform his past hits from Miami to Summertime along with songs from the new album across England, France, and Germany. As Smith gears up for his tour, he also has several films in pre-production, including Fast and Loose, Hancock 2, I Am Legend 2, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Damn, boy. Shit. And he got 2 sequels on the way. Talking about Hollywood cancels Will Smith. Well, shit, they done reimbursed his membership. He's embracing this next phase of his career with renewed energy. This is about to be the greatest creative run of my entire career. I can see that, especially if these films are already pre-filmed. You got 3 albums on the way. He finna flood the market. The things that I'm about to do in music and cinema and just artistic expression and exploration, it's like I can't sleep at night. I'm so ready to go. So as you can see, Will Smith has a heavy weight of baggage that's been lifted off his shoulders. What that exact weight is, I cannot determine. You know, we haven't really, or let me say because I don't know what y'all have seen. I haven't really seen him and Jada, you know, out publicly like that in recent times. I'm not saying that they've separated or gone their separate ways, but it does seem that they are embarking on separate journeys. And he's fully immersed into his creative juices, you know what I'm saying? Getting back into film, getting back into music. And you know, Will he really been on a different type of journey these last few years anyway. You know, when he came back on the scene and he got on social media and he was doing skydiving and, you know, addressing all his fears and all of this stuff. Now he doing motherfucking interviews. Somebody who classically wasn't doing a lot of interviews outside of like red carpet type stuff. He's made himself accessible. He's made himself accessible to the new generation. You know, he's not one of those older acts that wags his finger and detests everything that's going on. He just goes with the flow. And for that, I've always looked at him, you know, as somewhat of an influence as well, because there's certain things that he's touched on that I can identify with, like, you know, just being responsible for your own self-maintenance, your own emotional work, you know what I'm saying? Like, before all the Chris Rock shit, he was already on that, but, you know, once he did that, it just began a whole whirlwind of other shit. But he's an intelligent dude. I don't know how, you know, I don't know his spiritual connection or where his faith necessarily lies. He does talk about God and all that stuff, but it's not really all that relevant to me because I got my own walk to go through. But I am interested in hearing this album. I am interested in hearing him reconnect with DJ Jazzy Jeff and see what that sounds like. And I'm interested in hearing the other 2 albums that he got after this one, but hopefully it's good because I don't want to have to get on here and be like, damn, I did a whole 20-minute video hyping this, talking about this shit, and it was garbage. Because we are known for keeping it real over here. All right? But let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Become an insider. I will catch y'all on the next one. All right? Much love and respect, y'all. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda, we hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer, we come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest, but drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, one fumble. I done came too far to be humble.